to China in a ranking tournament, but his opponent Liam Highfield, very capable player. This is only going to be their second meeting. They faced off in the Scottish Open. That was way back in 2017, which Robertson won 4-2. This is for the best of 9 frames. Here comes Robertson, one of the modern greats without a doubt, but still searching for his usual form early in this season. So a deep run here would be exactly what he's looking for. He's yet to Champion of Champions, which is coming up in Bolton in November. And he's looking to preserve his extraordinarily consistent record of having won at least one professional title every year since he won his first, way back in 2006, when he took the Grand Prix. Neil Robertson taking on Liam Highfield in round 2 of the Wuhan Open. Place in the round of 32 up for grabs and a meeting with either Zhou Yulong or Anthony Hamilton. Neil Robertson is now ready to go and he'll get us underway. And it's a very good morning to Fergal O'Brien.
Thank you, Philip. Yeah, looking forward to this match. Two similar players, apart from being tall left-handers. The way they play the game is quite similar. Great long potters. Aggressive players, so it should be interesting. Again, you probably feel this match probably will be won from distance. Not just who plays the better safety, but who pots more of the long pots to get in.
Yes, neither of these players will be thrilled with the start that the season has given them as Highfield goes in off. In the case of Neil Robertson, he lost in the first round of the English Open last week to Sanderson Lam 4-2. One of the big surprises early in the first Home Nations event of the season. Second round of the British Open the week before to Si Jiahui 4-1. And the first round of the European Masters, the second event of the new campaign, having missed the Championship League, the first, to Wu Yize. So Robertson is currently 102 on the one-year list. Now, it is early in the season, of course, but with those big Players' Championship events coming up in the new year, the World Grand Prix for the top 32, the Players for the 16, and the newly reconfigured Tour Championship for the top 12, Robertson could do with a deep run.
Yeah, you feel he's just lacking a bit of confidence at the moment in his interviews when he's talking. You feel like he's more trying to convince himself that he's playing well. And certainly results-wise, hasn't happened at all from the season. Obviously made the semi-finals in Shanghai, lost in the semi-finals there. But as I said, certainly for the ranking events, a very poor start.
Yes, he was beaten by the world champion Luca Brissell in Shanghai, which of course is an invitational, which was won by Ronnie O'Sullivan, who will be in action later in our second feature match of the day in the evening session. He's up against Mark Davis, former English Open runner-up, having brushed aside Ken Doherty yesterday as Highfield catches the blue. Yes, I think last season Robertson felt, having missed a few tournaments at the start of the campaign, that he was always running to catch up a bit, never quite found his A game. He did meet the semi-finals of 3 of the Home Nations events, but wasn't able to win a title apart from the inaugural mixed doubles with Mink Nutchera.
Yeah, there was actually plenty of seasons where it seemed like he won the very first tournament of the year, which is a brilliant start to the season. And actually even Judd Trump was talking about the start of the season, the importance of making a good start. Obviously made the final in Germany and then backed up with a brilliant win. And you do feel Judd Trump's going to be very dangerous now this season with that title under his belt.
And the way in which he won last week Two tremendous comebacks first, and then, of course, against Zhang Anda in the final from 7-3 down. It was a tremendous resilience from Trump to win his first title in terms of a ranking event for 19 months as Robertson goes in off. Good billiard shot. He's had plenty of success in Asia, Robertson. 4 of his 23 ranking titles have come here.
Ideally, at the start of a match, you would like to get in first and make a big break. But these kind of starts to frames where there's plenty of safety shots can be a nice feeling that you feel, even if you've lost the first frame, you've kind of well settled into it. The conditions, the atmosphere, speed of the table. Obviously, at some point, they'll want to get in and start attacking, but it can be a good start to the match. As I was saying, last season wasn't one of Neil's best either, so during the summer he had a look at his preparation, seeing how could he improve, and as a result of that he's decided to work with Chris Henry this season. I know in talking to Chris, he's been working very hard, hitting the ball really well, but obviously that hasn't transferred into matches.
And it's been a similar story for Highfield at the start of this season. In fact, he hadn't won a ranking point until his victory over Jimmy White to qualify for the venue here in Wuhan. Produced a tremendous performance last season in qualifying for the UK Championship when he came from 3 down with 4 to play to beat Ali Carter, who went on to be one of the players of the season, winning the German Masters. But it's Robertson who strikes first, although the cue ball...
Yeah, just potting it for safety and trying to get... Just going down the table now to have a look, see where's the worst place he can leave the white for Liam.
Robertson now 41 years of age. He's been a pro since 1998, although of course he did drop off the tour initially. It is an extraordinary record of consistency, isn't it? He won the Grand Prix against Jamie Coate. Remember him, what a player he was before he suffered some health issues that forced him off the tour. 2006, and every calendar year since then, Robertson has won at least 1 professional title. But he hasn't won one this year yet.
Yeah, God love him. Might have to go a year without winning the tournament. Remarkable consistency.
He is one for the stats, though, Neil, and he'll be very mindful of that record and very motivated to preserve it. He loves making centuries, as we know. First player to make 100 hundreds in a single season. And he gets thoroughly fed up with himself, even when a frame is won, if he doesn't go on to make the century. And as you've alluded to, Fergal, he's a really hard worker, isn't he, off the table? He's always looking for that extra 1 or 2% to try and improve his game.
Yeah, obviously last year wasn't bad, so he felt needed to make changes, but even he's been doing very well. Always had a lot of self-analysis. What's he doing? Wouldn't just take it for granted. Just because he did it before doesn't mean it continues to be the right way to do it. And I said, it'll be interesting to see as the season progresses, will he be getting the benefits of that hard work and working with Chris Henry. Obviously, Neil is a fantastic technique, but obviously there was 1 or 2 things Chris spotted that the one or 2 areas for improvement. He's been working hard at it. But again, also, probably the mental side probably needs a little bit of improving as well. I said for him, not having won a tournament, obviously his confidence is down a little piece. But you feel with his game, his attitude, providing he's working hard, you just do feel it's only a matter of time before he gets back in the winner's circle. But you can't take that for granted, however.
His most recent success was an extraordinary one when he won the Tour Championship in the spring of last year, coming from 5 down with 6 to play to beat John Higgins to do it.
Obviously a slow, scrappy start to this frame, and ideally they're not the frames Neil generally thrives on. And if anything, over the last few years, particularly in the World Championships, he's kind of got bogged down when players have played really good safety, slower frames. He's at his very best, not just when he's playing fluent, usually around 21, 22 average shot time, but also in his shot selection. I think sometimes he with maybe a better safety player can try go toe-to-toe with them, which actually just dilutes his strengths. And I myself, if I'm playing Neil Robertson, I want him to turn down long pots. I want to try and get him embroiled in safety.
Yes, and he's very mindful that he can be vulnerable to getting embroiled in the tactical side of things, which of course he can play. That's a good safety from Highfield. But as you say, his real strength is the quality of his potting, his break building. Of course, it's not always easy to impose your own game style because your opponent's trying to do the opposite. So sometimes it can be challenging, but undoubtedly Robertson is at his best when he's going for the jugular. Arguably the best long potter we've ever seen. Many people believe his cue action is the most effective we've seen in the game, certainly in terms of its technical excellence. Ramrod straight. Ronnie O'Sullivan is of that view.
Yeah, that previous excellent safety shot from Liam there. Managed to get a snooker behind the brown. Probably given his first chance to get a pot. Obviously position of play is not ideal. You can see there with Liam playing that shot, I said, quite a similar technique to Neil there. Just roll behind the blue and leave Neil a similar problem to the last shot.
Highfield hails from Stoke in the West Midlands, which has produced many a good player down the years. The aforementioned Jamie Cope being an example. Dave Harold as well.
I'm not sure why Liam didn't just gently roll up behind the blue and leave Neil snooker there. Chance here for Liam. Get the white ball down the balk end. These type of frames wouldn't exactly be Liam's favourites either. Both players like open attacking frames. Fortunately, it doesn't always go that way.
Yes, we saw quite a scrappy match, certainly in the early stages yesterday, with Jack Lazowski struggling to find his best form initially against Scott Donaldson, but eventually turning the match in his favour from 2-0, very nearly 3-0 behind. He needed a snooker with just pink and black left in that third frame. Lazowski managed to get it, and that was the catalyst for a turnaround and a 5-3 win. Other matches in this session today. Sanderson Lam, the man who beat Neil Robertson last week in the first round of the English Open. He's playing Barry Hawkins, who of course has already won the European Masters this season. Terrific start to the new campaign for Hawkins, who fell out of the top 16 last season and didn't qualify for the Crucible. Jamie Clark is playing Ali Carter, the reigning German Masters champion. Anthony Hamilton and Zhou Yulong are on table 4. The winner of that plays the winner of this. And the other matches in this session: Alfie Burden against Ashley Carty, former Welsh Open champion Jordan Brown against Chen Zhigong, and Zhihao Jing is playing Michael White. Just a reminder that later our commentary match will be Ronnie O'Sullivan against Mark Davis. Ding Junhui is also in action against Wang Xijun. So taking a while to unfold this opening frame. Liam Highfield was a bit unlucky just now, wasn't he? Terrific red that he powered into the centre pocket, didn't get position.
Generally, the safety's been excellent from both players. He was probably a little bit fortunate. His previous safety shot, caught a little bit thicker, didn't reach the baulk line, that he didn't leave Liam a pot. Both players showing great patience and discipline.
Foul.
Haven't been tempted to take a gamble, push the boat out, and just kind of accepted it's going to be one of these frames.
As mentioned, it's a big money event, this, £140,000, and of course the equivalent number of points for the champion on Sunday, 63,000 for the runner-up.
Caught that a little bit thicker Liam there, and as a result the white didn't far enough down the table. However, it is on the right hand side. And Neil, with his hand on the table, was tempted by the red. Good pot. Had no guarantee where the white would go, but probably would have hoped to be something a little bit better.
It's an awkward table at the moment with both pink and black in difficult spots. The blue off its spot as well. Not conducive to heavy scoring right now.
Even that little shot there is an example, as I said, of his patience and discipline. Would have been very easy to play some other shot and play it quicker, but was prepared to wait that extra few seconds to play what he felt was going to be the most damaging safety shot. And if he's the red that's on the left hand side of the table, if he's blocked that with the green, that makes this safety more difficult. Could go on off, could hit other reds here. And played it well. Of course, both of them having straight cue actions. Obviously, that's a great asset for potting, but also a great asset when you're playing safety shots, particularly if you're trying to hit a thin edge, that they're very accurate, they're able to do it consistently. think Neil, he's left that red to the right corner. He's tempted by it, but I think he feels in playing it, he'll hit the other red that's closest. So again, deciding to wait. Again, been a lot of safety shots, but with each safety shot seems to be really more bogging the game down rather than opening up. Again, Neem came down the table there. Probably end up playing a dump shot. Leave the white down here. And if he did, what would he believe?
Sheng Chung Yu is our referee. Liam Highfield just having a quick word with him so that he can make a mental note of where the cue ball is, just in case something goes awry here and it needs replacing. He is a 2 times ranking quarter-finalist, Highfield. He made the last stage of the shootout last season, and prior to that, quarter-finals of the Indian Open in 2017.
Yeah, digging down, trying to play this red and swing it around the angles. Again, excellent shot. Yeah, you can see the top of the table there from Neil. That was difficult there. Plenty of talent, Liam. Great game, but just hasn't had that consistency over the years. Playing with myself a few times, sometimes his temperament on the day wasn't ideal. Got a little bit hard on himself, which was detriment of his game. But you're never comfortable playing him. Very dangerous player. There's been 1 or 2 times where he's beaten me and beaten me well. I felt like there wasn't a lot I could do about it.
Oh, that is a terrific pot.
And as a player playing him in your chair, you'd nearly expect him to pot that kind of shot, which makes him very difficult to play against.
He's a former English under-19 champion. First term pro in 2010. Fell off the tour in 2014. Now, that always looked a little wide. He'll be disappointed after such a great opening red. And he's given the opportunity to Robertson. So Robertson looking to capitalise after Highfield missed the blue off that superb opening red. It's taken a while for this frame to get going, but here's a chance for Robertson to craft something substantial. Bit of work to do though, the table's still not ideal. Black out of commission for the time being, and I think there's some movement in the crowd that's affecting Robertson.
After playing safety for a long period of time, as both players done, hard then to come straight away if you do get an opportunity to be the most fluent.
And just as he was queuing there was quite a loud bang as well. So Robertson, at the moment, just a little exasperated that his concentration is being interrupted. This is a big match for Robertson, as we've said already. He's had a pretty disappointing start to this season. Only 3,000 ranking points coming into this tournament. Of course, you don't get anything if you lose in the first round, and he's had a couple of those. So very eager to, as Fergal alluded to, transfer his practice form to the match table. The black's released, but he's not nicely on it.
Near Robertson 30.
Yeah, at first I thought he might have been tempted to go for a low percentage shot, but obviously was playing safety, trying to get the black into the open. Shorter pace there again from Liam. Then he would describe this as a Neil Robertson special coming up.
What?
Yes, he's deadly, isn't he, from that kind of range ordinarily. Once again, the cue ball's not great.
Yeah, once he has his hand on the table, great strike rate.
Everything's been a bit of a struggle so far in this frame. Robertson still searching for prime position. But now getting himself into a situation where he can push on in this frame and perhaps clinch it at this visit. 17 in front.
Obviously been a longer frame than he would have thought or expected, but can be quite satisfying to win these frames when you've shown patience, discipline, and then finish the frame off. As I said, even for Liam, there's some positives in this frame, so they're going to be well settled, comfortable.
The other great thing about the calendar these days is it's so packed that if you do have a disappointing tournament, a couple of early exits, you know that another big tournament is just round the corner and the chance for redemption. There was a time 13, 14 years ago where you might have to wait months for an opportunity to play another ranking event if you took an early bath.
29.
We had the British Open a couple of weeks ago, the English Open last week. We've got Wuhan this week. And then a few days in between this tournament and the start of the Northern Ireland Open. The event's coming thick and fast, Fergal.
Yeah, it's great to have so many tournaments. I said, we can both remember a time where there was only 6 ranking events. And you said there could be literally months between. Felt like a part-time player.
44 the lead. So Robertson getting close. It was nicely played with the rest. And that's all he needed to leave his opponent requiring a snooker with only 43 remaining.
Yeah, as I said, great to have so many tournaments on the calendar, but I do feel that World Snooker could probably plan the calendar a little bit better. And obviously last week there's a lot of discussion amongst the players. It does seem a bit unusual or not ideal planning to have a tournament in England finished on a Sunday and then Monday morning starting in China.
A couple of the game's biggest names aren't here. Mark Williams, who of course won the British Open, and Luca Brissell, the world champion, opting to withdraw. Graham Dott and Dave Gilbert also withdrew from this event. But Robertson will be pleased. It was a high-quality safety battle initially. Liam Highfield potted a terrific red,
51.
but couldn't follow up with the blue. And Robertson was able to get in with a trademark red from distance. And he's taken full advantage.
Yeah, all departments of his game have got a good workout in this first frame. Obviously plenty of safety. A couple of great long pots. Now starting to compile a bit of a break. And this could be a great foundation for the rest of the match.
An excellent 60-plus contribution then from Neil Robertson, launched by an excellent long red. He's off the mark. He leads 1-0 against Sanderson Lamb. You can watch that on Discovery Plus, of course. Here on the other table, Liam Highfield breaking off in frame 2, having sat out an excellent 60-plus break. Neil Robertson, he did have the opportunity, knocked in a superb long red, but couldn't follow up with the blue into the same pocket. And Robertson got in and took advantage.
I think Neil just looking to see, can he pot this red to the right corner, avoid the pack and just land on the black. Obviously didn't have that angle to play it. Tried to stun across, but missed it by a lot in the end.
You could say he was unlucky to see the red end up there, but it's a measure of just how far the pot went astray there for Robertson. Very unlike him to miss by that distance.
Yeah, it looked like he was trying to force an angle that wasn't there. Again, gave Liam an easy starter. Just went a little bit higher on the blue than he would have liked. Still could play the blue and go into them. Makes the pot a little bit more difficult, but because it's such a thin angle on the blue, you're more or less guaranteed to split them. From the brown, there was always going to be difficult to try and judge the pace to get exactly on that red that's at the bottom of the pack. And considering it's such an easy red to start, position play was quite easy. You'd be disappointed that he's only really made 5 from there. Again, if he had an ideal angle on the blue, could have opened up the pack. Against the top players, the chances don't come up that often. So when they do, or even half a chance, you feel you have to capitalise as much as you possibly can. Excellent safety shot there from Liam. Dug into the white, played it with left hand side to swing it around. Got a thicker contact on the pack, which has opened them up, but also brought the water the left hand side. The red that's on the left hand side cushion could be a little bit of an issue. Neil has to make sure he avoids that and playing this safety.
Thought about just hanging on the lip of the pocket, but not for the first time today. Robertson's gone in off.
In that pocket, it's been very similar. That's happened a lot already. I think that's the players having a joke about.
Meanwhile, Ali Carter has got the first frame on the board against Jamie Clark. Break of 97 from Carter. Good red from Highfield. Carter played yesterday in his first match against Yulu Bai, who looks like a real talent. Won the women's junior world title and then the British Open title earlier this year, beating Rhiannon Evans in the final. Heavy scorer, made a break of 95 in the second frame and took 2 frames off Carter. 20-year-old, definitely one to watch. Many people believe that she could go on to be one of the best female players of all time. It's early days in her career, of course, but a very promising start. And Carter would certainly have known he was in a match. Oh, he's overcut the red.
Don't have a 6.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate there, Liam. The red and the blue were both good pots and probably expected to be on something a little bit nicer. There from Neil, I think, trying to play it, trying to pot it off the other red, but unlikely they'd be able to hit it thin enough. And he was also definitely going into other reds. For a sign of a lack of patience or discipline so far by Neil. He doesn't want to be giving Liam too many easy openings to get his confidence up.
He's one of those players who can get on a roll, as he proved against Carter in UK qualifying last season when he was 5-2 down, seemingly heading out, and then reeled off 4 frames to get to the venue. He's qualified for the Crucible on 3 occasions. Yet to win a match there.
6.
He's plenty cue power, can play all the shots. Is that just dangerous? Again, sometimes you play him. Again, I've played him a couple of times. He's played really well. And then you look at his ranking, he's ranked around 60 or so, and you're not sure why. Again, currently 61 at the moment, so would like to have a good start to the season. Come the new year, doesn't really still be ranked around 60 or so, and then has that scrap to try and stay on the tour. Would like to get plenty on the points, get well up the rankings, and if anything, try and push for a top 32 spot rather than be concerned about staying on the tour. Eventually, that mentality, just trying to stay on the tour, catches up with you, and inevitably you're going to fall off.
Zhou Yulong has the first frame, meanwhile, against Anthony Hamilton. Whoever wins that will play this in the next round. Ashley Carty is 1-0 up on Alfie Burden. And Jordan Brown has taken the opener against the amateur Gong Chenji. Michael White likewise against Jing Zihao.
Sun.
Having to work very hard for these, Liam, but able to see the range shots that he does have. To be able to move the white ball around isn't a problem to him.
What a lovely cannon that was.
43.
Very controlled shot from Highfield as he looks to hit straight back after the disappointment of the first frame, having to work without the black in this one.
played a few shots with the rest already, and that one was a little bit easier than the previous one when he had to screw him back. But even with the rest, excellent technique. You can see some players have great cue actions, but when they're playing with the rest, the cue action's not so good, not as smooth. But hits the ball very well, Liam. Again, Neil will be well aware of his capabilities, and particularly the run Neil is losing a good few first round matches. He'll be giving this match his full attention.
$37. 30.
$75 on the table, which will become 67 when this
44.
red goes in. So this red colour and another red should be enough to level the match. And he's taken these very well, Highfield. A couple of awkward shots, well negotiated. First frame took a bit of sorting out. There was some really good safety actually at the start of it. Robertson eventually getting in and winning in one visit, and Highfield has done the same here. So both players are cueing well.
59.
This frame's certainly over now.
Of course, everybody's aware of Neil's excellent technique, but I think it's very similar. It's a long, fluent, smooth delivery of the cue, plenty of power. And when he's playing like this and scoring heavy, very good to watch as well. Of course, there's nobody more frustrated than him that he can't seem to reproduce this form on a consistent basis. But again, that can change. I've seen one good week can change a career.
Excellent stuff from Liam Highfield, returning the compliment from the first frame from Neil Robertson, who made 66. Highfield likewise for one frame all. Frame, and likewise from Highfield in the second, a break of 61 to level the match. You can't afford to leave those for Robertson. Meat and drink for him. It's 1-1 now, by the way, in the match between Jamie Carter and Jamie Clark, I should say, and Ali Carter. Carter, who made 97 in the first frame, but Clark has equalised. That match is on table 3. 7 tables in use here in this giant Wuhan gymnasium. Excellent setup here. Brand new venue for snooker.
Yeah, Neil, just come and have a look at the pack here. I think he's going to play the red just below the pack. They're just looking to go into them, try and get out and get still beyond the black. Played beautifully. First real opportunity during the match for Neil. He called to show off his break building prowess. Obviously loves being down this end of the table, making centuries. been positive, aggressive and fluent.
Fourth in the all-time list in that regard, and only one of 4 players to have made in excess of 900. Robertson, 904 coming into this tournament. Only Judd Trump, John Higgins and Ronnie O'Sullivan, who now has 1,213 ahead of him. Trump has already made 24 centuries this season. Trump, of course, has leapt to the top of the Bet Victor European bonus list. That series that attracts a prize of £150,000, won last season by Rob Milkins in winning the Welsh Open. And second on the one-year list behind Mark Williams, the British Open champion. Neil Robertson at the moment not even remotely figuring in that regard, but of course a deep run this week would change all of that. Yeah, that looks like it's not gone to plan.
Yeah, Mike considered himself a little bit unfortunate. Could have been on something, but whoever he did play for the pack didn't hit the pack. So he's probably relying on a little bit of luck. Yeah, probably surprised and disappointed, only making 28. That initial shot he played on the red to open them up and be perfect on the black. Would have been expecting to score a lot heavier from there. That'll also give Liam some encouragement as well. They're playing the top players, as soon as they get in around the black, you just presume that they're going to win the frame in one visit. Again, Neil hasn't played the best saved shot there, left Liam this shot to nothing. Puts a high percentage of this kind of shot. Has to be careful about the red that's close to the left-hand middle pocket. So he wants to avoid that.
It's the second red that Robertson has missed from distance by a large margin in this frame. And of course, when you do that, you lose control of things. The object ball goes flying around the table. Could have ended up worse, actually, for Robertson.
And again, that'll also give Liam some confidence there.
That's a really good pot. Very little of the centre pocket to aim at there. He had to be bang on with his accuracy, and he was.
Yeah, you wouldn't say Neil is struggling as such, but definitely not playing his very best. It's been important this frame and even before the interval to Liam to, if not stay in touch, try and even get a lead, put Neil under pressure. It's important with the top players, if you get a chance to get on top, that you capitalise on it, because it mightn't seem significant at the time, but in hindsight it looks that that was as good as it got.
You got any waistcoats in your wardrobe like that, Fergal?
No. Maybe early 90s, I think I had something similar, and it was at the front, which is worse. I certainly never had my hair like that.
Yes, that is a lot of hair.
3.
I think Luca Brissell, in one of Eurosport's little features, marks out Liam Highfield as someone who, in his words,
4.
is interested in his looks.
It's nice to have the options.
He's certainly a dangerous player. He showed that in the second frame. It was an excellently crafted break of 61 to get himself in the match early. Very important, I think, when you're up against one of the greats of the game, to get that early foothold, build some confidence. Just demonstrate to yourself that you're in the mood to compete. And he'll be mindful that, like himself, Robertson hasn't made a great start to this season. Might not be chock full of confidence himself, so would have come into this match
12.
with reason to believe that he could do some damage today.
Yeah, that's kind of the frustrating thing with Liam, that you wouldn't be at all surprised if he beats Neil Robertson. However, you wouldn't be at all surprised if he loses tomorrow in his next match, no matter who he's to play. It's just that consistency he's been lacking. But on his game, on his day, very dangerous.
And there's another nicely controlled cannon. We saw one of those on his way to that 61 break in frame 2. Getting himself back involved in this frame.
But he said hasn't had the best start to the season either, but certainly looks very composed. I said in the past, sometimes he struggled a bit with his temperament. Looks very calm, relaxed. Also works with Chris Henry. That's something they would have worked on.
I don't know how Chris finds the hours in the day. He's in such demand.
He's busy, all right.
Are there any players that aren't working with Chris Henry at the moment?
Twenty-six.
Different players obviously have different ways of preparing. It was interesting to hear Luca Brissell talking about his run to his spectacular world triumph back in the spring. And of course, all the stories at the time were how he was going home to Belgium between matches. He was partying, he hadn't practiced. And he was asked about that. And of course, he had been working with Chris Henry previously and had been trying a lot more on the practice table than perhaps he'd done in the past. And he said, look, it just didn't work for me. I found that my game wasn't improving. I was working harder at it, but my results weren't any better. And so he hit on a somewhat unorthodox route to glory. But if it works for you, then why not? But equally, it's not going to work for everyone.
Absolutely, yeah. There's me over the years working hard and sober. What chance had I got?
Well, that's where you've been going wrong, Fergal.
Yeah. But no, he played fantastic. Obviously came into the World Championships very fresh, and even towards the end was still fresh, so not everybody could do it though.
It wasn't just the fact that he won the title, and remember, he hadn't won a match at the Crucible prior to that and very nearly lost in the first round. But when you look at the players he beat and the manner in which he beat them, from 10-6 down to knock out O'Sullivan, having held off Mark Williams at the end of their match in the second round, and then that record-smashing comeback from 9 frames down against Si Jiahui, and then perhaps the ultimate test in snooker, Mark Selby over 4 sessions in a world final, to come through that as well, despite the Selby comeback in the final session, was incredible, really.
Yeah, I think players felt as well as Luca was playing that over 4 sessions over the distance that Mark Selby kind of get his claws into him, but he wasn't able to. Made a good comeback towards the end, but Luca was fantastic.
And he seems to be wearing the crown pretty well. I think he's enjoying being world champion.
Looks like he had a good summer, all right.
I think he had a very good summer, apart from losing his cue, which happily he's got back. When he was travelling back from the United States, he's thoroughly enjoyed himself. He's not here, but no doubt he'll be just taking the opportunity to rest up ahead of and many other tournaments coming up between now and the end of the year. Meanwhile, this has been another very impressive visit from Liam Highfield. He got in with a superb thin snick into the centre pocket after Robertson had gone for a long one and missed it by a margin. And getting close to leading 2-1 now. Oh, hang on. Yeah, that never looked in. Well, he'll be furious about that because the frame was in his hand, and that could be a very costly mistake. Maybe he feels that the cue, or rather the object ball, slightly moved away from the pocket, but that could be very costly.
Absolutely, not just that he compiled the break, but even the way he'd done it didn't really look like missing. Cue ball under control, looked under control himself, but all that hard work's been given away. And I said, talking earlier in the frame about if you get a chance to try and hurt your opponent and get on top, and he had done that, had that opportunity, and this would be a hammer blow if he was to lose this frame, not just for his own confidence, but also what it does to his opponent.
6.
And
So,
he can,
yeah, certainly that red never looked in, did it? From the moment he struck it, it always looked like it was heading to the jaw.
yeah, I'm not sure maybe by his reaction if he got a kick or just that was a natural reaction, because as soon as he hit it, he knew he'd missed it. But even though it's early on, it could be a pivotal frame. And this frame, it's not so much how it'll affect Liam, whether it'll hurt his confidence, it's how it affects his opponent. It'll give Neil extra confidence.
Yes, exactly. Robertson will be acutely aware of how hurtful this will be if he can mop up the remaining balls now, which you would expect him to do, certainly.
Yeah, clever there on the last red, rather than play for pink or black. Screw down the table, one of the ball colours. And obviously, no matter what ball colour you're on, pop that, then get on the yellow. Just makes the clearance that much easier.
8. Five.
And we've been talking about Liam's temperament. It's been excellent today, but this will test it. This will hurt him.
23.
And also, as I said, give Neil great confidence.
These are the frames that always feel like they're bigger than the frame itself because of the way in which it's unfolded. The fact that Highfield was cueing so well, had the frame at his mercy. And there can be a hangover from a frame like this, can't there, for the next couple?
32.
Trying to get those negative thoughts out of your head. What might have been? I should be 2-1 up against one of the best in the world. I had him on the ropes a little. The black not required. Neil Robertson clears to the pink, and that is a big frame early in this match. Liam Highfield was going so well and looked for all the world as though he was moving 2-1 up himself, but it's Robertson who now leads by the odd frame. A dramatic third frame, one that Liam Highfield really should have won. He was playing so nicely, but Mr. Red from short range into the right centre pocket, maybe got a heavy contact, but it was a very costly miss. It allowed Neil Robertson to step in to clear to the pink and lead by 2 frames to 1. So how is Highfield going to respond to that? It's a tough blow to take early in this match, having looked so good. Break of 56 proving to be in vain. Can he regroup ahead of this 4th frame and share this little session ahead of the interval?
Yeah, obviously an important frame. Doesn't want to fall 3-1 behind, but even psychologically.
And Robertson now spying an opportunity to rub salt into the wounds of Liam Highfield off the back of that third frame. Excellent long red and a good black to follow from close to the side cushion.
Yeah, we'll never know, but you did feel with him winning that frame that he was definitely going to pot that long red. And again, you couldn't say Liam's really made a mistake, but it just seems in the blink of an eye, chance to go 2-1, and you wouldn't be all surprised if it turns. 10 minutes later, you're 3-1 down. And I said it's not so much that even Liam is psychologically affected by it, but just Neil probably won't be as vulnerable as he was. That might have been as good as it was going to get for Liam. There's no guarantee playing the top players in each frame you will get a chance.
No room, meanwhile, on the pink spot. So Zheng Chengyu just placing it behind the pack in a direct line without touching those reds.
Of course, on the other side, Neil's such a winner. He'll be aware of the significance of this. If you can back up that last frame with a one visit here.
It'll make for a very difficult 15-minute break for Highfield. He'll be wondering what might have been, how quickly things can change.
Wasn't the most difficult Neil made to win that last frame, but he never looked like missing it all, just fully presumed he'd do it. The nerve, inevitability about it.
And this, I guess, is what marks out the very best players in the world from the rest of the field, which is so strong in its depth these days. That clinical edge when they get the opportunity to punish. Almost invariably, it feels like they take it. Very aware of key moments in a match and when to pounce, when to assert their authority.
Yeah, it was similar actually yesterday in the match I watched between Ronnie and Ken. Ken made a good start, probably should have went 2-1 up. Went 2-1 down and seemed like half an hour later was 5-1. You'd be talking to somebody about the match, saying you lost 5-1, saying, well, I should have went 2-1 up and that was it. And it's not necessarily you're making excuses or being light of the fact. You just mightn't get another opportunity. Having said that, still a bit of work here for Neil. He's going to win it in one visit. He's just having a look there to see, after he pots the blue, where exactly he'd like to be. Not just the position, but how far down. That he doesn't... He's not awkward queuing with a ball colour. Make sure he can get his hand on the table. He won't have to use the rest. It's worth taking those extra couple of seconds. Trying to leave yourself, well, in Neil's case, one of your favourite pots. Again, this ramrod cue action, you fully expect him just to pot this and stun run through for the black.
Right in the centre of the pocket. So the fact that he landed the wrong side of the blue, not phasing Robertson, who, as mentioned earlier, has won 4 ranking events in China. China Open 2013 and 2019, the last year we were here for ranking events. And that's worked out nicely. More reds open, he's on one. This looks like curtains in frame 4 for Highfield. He also won the old Wuxi Classic back-to-back. 2013 and 14. I think 2013, that particular event in Wuxi was the first where we had the introduction of the flat draw. In other words, the top 16 playing from the first round.
Of course, with each pot Neil makes here, just compounding the miss that Liam had in that frame. And as we feared, regardless of Liam's mental state, Neil just got stronger, and in what championship is now 3-1 behind. And not just 3-1 behind, but also a great player. Are you best?
Well, just this black and one more red, and Highfield will need a snooker. And this has been, once again,
67.
clinical stuff from Robertson. He looks very sharp now. He was out of his chair like a shot when Highfield surprisingly missed the red
68.
into that centre pocket. He knew he was being given an opportunity to really inflict some pain, and he's done that. So this frame is surely over now. 2 snookers for Highfield, even assuming he gets back to the table. We'll bring you up to date with developments on table 2 at the end of this frame. Of course, we'll be going for our interval of around 15 minutes. Just a reminder that earlier we had a surprise in the shape of Mark Selby bowing out to Zhu Si of China in a decider. Matt Selt, Sam Craigie, Ben Mertens and Lu Hao Shan, the other winners from the morning session here. But Robertson does look good. It's been a frustrating start to this campaign for him. Even though he feels his game is in good shape, he hasn't been able to transfer that into results. But maybe this week is going to be different. Certainly he looks very sharp right now. And he's playing at a really nice pace, isn't he? You made reference earlier, Fergal, to where Robertson is at his most lethal, around about the 21, 22 seconds a shot.
Yeah, and he's highlighted that himself. And again, as I said earlier, a couple of times the World Championships, different matches, it's been closer to 30. That's not him at his best. And he's took these very well. There's been a few shots where he's left mid-range pots, but it must be such a beautiful feeling that those mid-range pots are, it's like they're over the pocket for him.
This for his 905th century. What a break. His 7th this season.
105.
Made 50 last season, and of course 103 in a single campaign.
Yeah, that's a phenomenal achievement to have 100 centuries in one season.
I'll tell you what's also scary about that. It was nearly 10 years ago. Where has that time gone? But this is Robertson at his best. And Liam Highfield must wonder what's hit him from the moment he missed that short-range red to the right centre. Maybe he got a heavy contact, but it was a very pivotal moment in this mini session because Highfield was looking great himself. He was poised for 2-1, and then Robertson's under a bit of pressure coming into this frame now. The shackles are off, and he's playing superbly.
Yeah, missing that red by Liam might affect him, but the danger is, of course, we mightn't find out. Did it affect him? We mightn't get a chance. Neil's taking these really, really well.
133.
You can't beat the top break of the tournament, which was 145 by Aaron Hill in whitewashing Joe Perry in qualifying, but that is some clearance from Neil Robertson. 140, back to his very best in that frame, having pinched the third after Liam Highfield missed a red, and that has changed this match around. Neil Robertson fresh from that magnificent 140 total clearance in frame 4, breaking off in the 5th with a 3-1 lead, 2 frames away from booking his place in the last 32 and a meeting with either Anthony Hamilton or Zhou Yulong. But for Liam Highfield, the frustration of knowing that he should have been 2-1 up, missed the red to the right centre when he was going so nicely. He was on top at that stage, and in the blink of an eye, he finds himself 2 frames adrift. And he's had 15 minutes to stew on that as well. Do players have certain devices in a scenario like that, Fergal? You know, you've lost a frame, you should have won, and then you've got an interval to think about it. What would you do in that situation? Would you get on the practice table? Would you go and sulk in your dressing room? What's the strategy?
Well, for me, I never practiced during the interval. I always felt the 15 minutes was better to. This is trying to regroup, maybe calm down, depending on what had happened, and then think without getting too bogged down. You know, how the match is going, how I've been playing, what can I do differently, and it's important here for Liam that he's not carrying in any annoyance, frustration, as best you can. That working with somebody like Chris Henry would have helped with that. That he's hopefully forgotten about that. And of course, he may still lose, but he doesn't want to lose or play bad after the interval just because of what happened before the interval. So just that time, maybe if somebody there, somebody to talk to. You might necessarily be a coach, even a friend, just to, if you are annoyed, just talk to them for a couple of minutes and just get rid of it. You want to be coming out here as calm and as neutral as possible.
That is the
Not
secret,
easy.
isn't it? Yeah, it's obviously easier said than done. But I guess what he's got to say to himself is, look, I'm cueing really well. I proved that in the way in which I started that frame. The fact that he played so well to level the match as well. So he knows his game is there, but those circumstances difficult to get out of your head. But if he can win this frame, then that will go a long way to making up for it.
Yeah, small margins. We're talking about just one red he missed. A long straight red there. Quite unusual for Liam. I said the white was on the baulk line. Quite unusual when the white's on the baulk line. If he's a chance at long pot to turn it down, obviously it would have been a long straight red and he would have to screw back with a lot of power for the blue, but it's a shot he can play and play well. But probably the fact that he's 3-1 down, just felt under pressure. Probably the right call just to walk away from it. Again, doesn't want to be taking risks. Give Neil another easy starter, and before you know it, 3-1 down has become 4-1. He could just literally just run out of time. Generally, all departments of his game has been good, Liam, and it's barred just that one red that he missed. He shouldn't have missed. He's been playing quite well. So again, it's important. Focus on those positives. Ideally, forget the scoreboard. Come out and play this frame. It's its own. It has its own identity.
Well, what a pot that is. That is a fantastic pot again from Highfield. We've seen one or two really good ones already today, and none better than that. What a shot. He had to get it, clearly. But now he has. Can he capitalise?
Yeah, great shot maker, great range of shots. Might well be tempted here to pot the blue and go into the pink and reds. Particularly with the black being tied up. He wants those reds open as much as possible. And of course, if he had the reds open, even if he's to work off the blue and maybe pink, it's a lot easier. Definitely value him trying to split them here. I think he would love the pink to be available. I don't think it is, even if cleared of one or two of the reds. So I felt he might hit the pack, try to cannon the pink and pack, open them up. See there, actually the pink is available.
So,
Just landed slightly off straight there. Just trying to screw back and more or less leave the white ball where it is and play a red to the right corner. Imperative in this position with the reds are where the reds are that he gets high on the blue, nice angle on the blue. Doesn't want to be going in and out of baulk. Trying to play position for those reds. very reason. Wasn't ideal on the blue. Still fully expected to pot the red, but it was missable. Where obviously if he was perfect on the blue, the next red would have been so much easier.
And it looks as though this red goes for Robertson into the left corner. Would have to go down as something of a let-off for Highfield with the way Robertson's queuing at the moment.
Not just a great pot for accuracy, but so well struck. Made it really, really sweet. Great control over the white. Again, from the previous shot Neil played, the black's come out into play. It's in the open here, but I don't think it'll go back on its spot. But again, it goes up on the blue. Not too bad. He's just trying to work out which red to get on, and obviously then have an angle on that to get back up for the black. Reds kind of block on each other a little piece. I think he can come off the cushion here. I think if he gets in position, he can play the pink into the middle. Obviously he can. And if the pink is on its spot there and it gets replaced, that's not too bad. Yeah, very straight. Actually, just a slight angle. What are you afraid of him potting this and screwing back? There's every chance you could just glance those three reds, which obviously he doesn't want to do. Obviously fearful of that, and that's why he's just had to leave himself this pink from distance.
Meanwhile, Ali Carter has matched the highest break of the tournament, a 1-4-5 to lead 3-1 against Jamie Clark. Aaron Hill having made the same break against Joe Perry in qualifying in Leicester. £5,000 is the highest break prize, so that's going to take some beating.
Sure, Aaron's delighted for him.
Of course, he scored that victory over O'Sullivan, didn't he, in his debut season, the man from Cork, West Island.
Yeah, great prospect, Aaron. I think please God he's a good season this year, stays on the tour, and then can really build from that. Bags of potential, hard worker, and hungry. Fortunately, there's loads of others like that as well.
Yeah, that's the thing.
For all players, young players, to get on the tour in those 2 years without being negative or lacking ambition, just stay on. Stay on. After 2 years, you can always then kick on and improve and look to win tournaments.
And that's where the 2-year card is so important, isn't it? Because as we know, back in the day, you only got one shot at it when you turn pro. A lot of players that have since established themselves, the likes of Neil Robertson, Kyron Wilson and others, fell off straight away. But that 2-year card just gives you a little bit more breathing space, an opportunity to acclimatise to the quantum leap from the amateur ranks. Get used to playing at this level, Perhaps the odd match on the TV table against the very best. And even if you then do fall off, you've got that extra experience under your belt for when you come back again.
It's a great shot there. Played it exactly like that. Good pot on the blue, came off the cushion with a bit of side to cannon the red away from the black spot. Fantastic shot. See how anxious he was once it came off the cushion, and he made that cannon. A great shot, obviously, the context of gives him every chance to win this frame, but that one shot alone can give you a great boost and belief, energy even. Again, we were wondering, not going 2-up, would it affect him? But it hasn't. He's, again, looked very composed. The balls haven't been that nice, but I keep saying he's plenty of skill. Well able to manoeuvre the white ball and get in position. From what we've seen, you'd have to say that losing that third frame hasn't affected him. Again, back to 3-2, right back in the match.
Equally vital, given what happened in frame 3, that he finishes the job here. He was only a couple of balls away from clinching that third frame. Only to see it stolen from his grasp on the final pink, so just be ultra careful here. Still 75 on.
49.
Yeah, and for the match now, actually sets it up lovely. It should go 3-2. Sounds obvious, but Neil goes 4-2 up, you'd fully expect him. But again, if Liam can make it 3-all, Neil has been struggling a little bit for results. There will be a little bit of pressure on him.
54.
Well, that's the frame barring Snookers. He'll want to make sure with an extra colour. But he's taken these well. Robertson did have the chance, missed the red into this left corner, which you might have expected him to get, given the way he's been queuing. And Highfield got in with another terrific red, perfectly on his colour, and this time no mistake from him. Exactly what he needed after the interval. And we've referenced already that comeback against Carter at the UK Championship when he reeled off 4 frames from 5-2 behind. So he's more than capable of putting frames together quickly.
68.
A lovely cue action, hits the ball with great authority. He's taken these very well, and certainly that blue he played to cannon the red off the black spots. Certainly the shot of the match.
So an opportunity here for back-to-back centuries after Robertson's 140 before the interval.
It's been a high-quality match. Obviously, certainly at the start of the match, first frame, there's a lot of safety. There hasn't been many balls missed.
81.
He's made just 2 centuries so far this season, which, as we've discussed, has been disappointing. He hadn't won a ranking point before he beat Jimmy White in qualifying for this tournament. He has made 102 for his career.
86. 86.
Obviously the blue is on the black spot, so a bit of work to do positionally to complete the century. But the blue is all he needs. Oh, what a shame. Just falls short of the century break, but it was an excellent 95 from Liam Highfield. exactly what he needed after the disappointment of that third frame. And he's back in contention at 3-2 behind.
Third set. 11.5 break.
So frame 6. Liam Highfield fresh from a confidence-boosting run of 95. Excellent break. Just a shame he couldn't pop the blue to make the century. But the main thing is he's back in the match. Just one behind into frame 6. Just their second meeting. Their first back in 2017, the Scottish Open, which Robertson won in the second round by 4 frames to 2.
He's left Neil this red here. Ideally, he'd like to go for it. If you can play it, run through for the black, he can. Obviously, didn't have the angle. Playing the red and trying to pot it, he would have been going into the pack. It was too risky. And consider he was just playing a fairly standard safety shot, just dumping the white. Careless to leave the red in a potable position. Again, certainly a shot Liam would go from fancy getting, particularly after that break in the last. And Missy that now, he's left Neil a red.
Yet another in-off from Robertson. Bit unlucky.
Lane 4.
Yeah, important as well, obviously. If he avoids the in-off and shot on the blue with a red waiting. Even the other red that's beside the black. It's early on, but could have been an opportunity, so this will need a bit of good cueing from Liam.
Long way off with that one.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't probably just stun it for the blue and just get a little, like be high on the blue, have a little angle. He's a great cueist generally, but that definitely made it a little bit harder, having to screw back into balk. Would have been probably better committing to the pot.
Meanwhile, Zhou Yulong now leads 4-0 against Anthony Hamilton. He made back-to-back centuries in that match. He lost out in a decider to Zhang Anda last week in the quarterfinals of the English Open, but he's been in very heavy scoring touch today against the veteran from Nottingham, former German Masters champion, of course, Anthony. And the winner of that match plays whoever comes through this in round 3. Sanderson Lamb has pulled a frame back against Barry Hawkins, so it's now 3-2 on table 2. It's 2 each between Alfie Burden and Ashley Carty. Burden has made a break of 74, Carty 81, so honours even. Over on table 5 with the 7 in play. Michael White and Jingxi Hao are level at 2 each.
He has a potential red here to the left corner. I think he might have just been coming down to see if he played it more or less pocket weight to be on the black. If he missed it, where would the white be? Would he be leaving Neil a chance? That's just factoring in his decision. Is it worth the gamble? Doesn't want to be playing a red that he feels if he doesn't pot, he's going to leave his opponent in. Hard to turn down also.
So close to that. Close enough that it stayed right over the pocket.
Again, considering the position on the black wasn't guaranteed, probably a risk he didn't need to take.
What?
And as a result, the very thing he doesn't want, when he got a little bit of momentum, he had Neil in his chair for a while. He's given Neil an easy opener and the balls are placed. So ideally, he just felt with that shot the percentages weren't in his favour. If it was just a one-off pot, you'd expect him to get it, but the fact that he's trying to play position at the pace he was playing it, the chances of potting and getting perfect on the black were very slim. And on the other side, if he missed it, he was guaranteed to leave his opponent a pot and a great chance. Hard judgment calls to make when you're such a good long potter and you're trying to be positive. I just think that was the time, considering where the balls were, just to walk away and just be patient, which he has been throughout the match. And you're just slightly running out of time. 3-2 down. Give Neil a good chance. All of a sudden it's 4-2. But of course, it's an absolute certainty Neil will win the frame from this visit. There's still a lot of work to do, but he has been fairly clinical when he has been in amongst them.
140 total clearance in the frame before the interval.
23.
We've seen a 145 from Ali Carter next door against Jamie Clark.
24.
Yeah, it was a little bit lower on the black than he would have liked, but it did make it ideal, though, in potting the black, just to cannon that red away. I think he's coming around to see that red that's to the right, the pink, does that go into the opposite corner, particularly after he pots this next red into the right corner. Well, the balls are open, slightly blocking each other. Take 1 or 2 pots just to clear up that. Yeah, that's what he's looking for there. If he leaves the white in a certain area, can he leave himself options? Yeah, play that well. Put it in an area that was more or less guaranteed to leave himself a red.
Okay.
Yeah, probably pot a black here and just try and cannon the red. Nearly in line with the pink, ideally, beyond the other red. Just potting the black in one good position to play. Should result in him winning the frame.
Well, not perfect here.
55.
51 the lead.
Okay.
He's asking for the extension, so he's going for this thin cut on the red to the left corner.
Okay.
Still 83 on the table. And it's an open table, so Robertson's just got to take a little bit of care to ensure he clinches the frame here. Otherwise, Highfield could be in for a counter. Never easy with the extension, and the frame still live. So an opportunity for Highfield. He's already had a frame pinch from his own pocket. Could he possibly return the compliment and get himself on terms here?
Yeah, Neil, the last time when he potted that black, didn't quite get the cannon perfect on the red. He still expects him to pot it even with the extension. And now this is a great opportunity here for Liam.
Feels like a very important moment in this match. If Highfield can deliver here, then we really do have a match on our hands. 4-2 behind, it's going to be difficult for him, but if he could not only level here, but level after it looked for all the world as though Robertson was moving 2 up with 3 to play, that would certainly put all the pressure back on the Australian shoulders.
Yeah, as a player in the chair in a situation like this, you nearly, in your mind, you're kind of fast forwarding to that red that's on the cushion, the black cushion. You nearly presume he's going to pot the other ones. It'll feel like the game will come down to that. Considering where he is now, might be tempted to roll the black in and play it straight away. Ideally, he'd kind of leave that to, like to leave it to last. Of course, it is a bit away from the cushion here. If he plays a pocket weight, you feel he's got every chance of going in. Again, of course, if he pots it, he is going to be on the black. This red could well decide the frame. Just giving it that extra second or two, he's aware of the importance of it. Again, played it well. Might have to cannon the couple of reds around the pink. Ideally, he'd not play that. Lost the whites slightly. Plus, I said they didn't want to ideally play the cannon because the reds were potable if you clear them. They're all potable now, but again, important pot to try and pot it and get on the blue.
Certainly pressure on this one. Well negotiated.
Yeah, certainly now, even though he's still 20 points behind, you'd make him favourite. And again, he'd be disappointed if he doesn't win it from here. Stretching a little piece. Oh, that's just about there. I thought it looked very careless there. He looked a bit anxious. He could have bought it quick. Be hard in this situation, particularly when the balls are nice, just to stay present, just play one shot at a time. Very easy to start thinking, okay, I'm going to win this frame, it's going to be 3-all, I could win this match. And before you know it, you've missed something simple. Just don't take these for granted, no complacency. And again, if you can, I'm potting this last red, forget about pink and black, get up for the ball colours, makes the colour clearance so much easier. Again, don't even play for the blue here. Ideally the green, but any one of them.
45.
And again, a massive frame, not just to level the score, but the manner. And again, this will hurt Neil.
Yes, it was looking very much like 4-2 before Robertson lost prime position and then missed from long range on a red to the left corner with the extension on his cue and rest. But how well has Highfield taken these? Got to keep it going for a few more shots.
49.
Needs up to the pink to be short.
51.
It's a rather unfortunate bang just as he was about to deliver the cue, and it wasn't completely clean, that pot, but no problem. He's perfectly on the brown.
Yeah, in a situation like this, there's enough noise in your own head without other people creating big bangs, but he's taking these very well, very composed. And it sets up, please God, just puts this pink now and just sets it up beautifully for the rest of the match. And again, this will hurt Neil. He will be under pressure.
What a match this is turning into. And what a fine clearance that is to the pink. He's going to take the black as well, but the frame is won. And Highfield getting his own back from the disappointment of frame 3, which he had pinched from his pocket in missing a red. It's Robertson who's missed one this time, and what an excellent punishing clearance. Neil Robertson then having to shake off the big disappointment of not leading 4-2. It was a terrific clearance though from Liam Highfield after Robertson had missed with the extension. And so this is now a best of 3 for a place in round 3 at the Wuhan Open.
As I said earlier in the match, when you see Liam play this well, you're amazed he's never made a semi-final of a ranking event. And to be fair, even the 2 quarterfinals he had, the shootout in the Indian Open, you wouldn't class them as any of the big or major events. But he's all the shots. Great cue action. You'd have to just maybe presume mentally he hasn't been the toughest at certain times. Struggled a bit for inconsistency. But again, this has been very encouraging for him and good to see.
Yes, I guess you could say something similar about what Zhang Anda was able to achieve last week. You know, he'd never been inside the world's top 50 before, turned pro in 2009. And had never been to a ranking semi-final before, but played superbly all week. And came within 2 frames of winning his first ranking title, which shows that if everything clicks in 1 week of snooker, you can really transform your season and your career. Meanwhile, another mistake from Robertson has let Highfield in again.
Yeah, and you probably would have classed Liam as a more dangerous opponent even than Zhang, certainly up until last week. So he's plenty of potential, plenty of talent. So far, it hasn't happened from, but again, that's not to say this week.
And he's still only 32, so there's time on his side. First turned pro in 2002, off the tour in 2014, but got straight back on via Q School. Like Ali Carter, he was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. That was back in 2015. I think he's sought Carter's advice as regards things related to diet and so forth. Can be debilitating, particularly when you're traveling and perhaps you're not sure of the food that's going to be available to you when you're moving around the world, plying your trade as these players are used to doing. Of course, there's been a lot less of that in recent times because of the pandemic, but just adds an extra layer of difficulty to what is already a very challenging sport. But right now, Highfield is cueing beautifully again. And if he can win this frame as well, he really will be piling the pressure on Robertson.
6.
Yeah, another example there, not just of accuracy, but the way he struck the white ball. Didn't hit any harder than he had to. again, playing at that pace, even if you're not 100% accurate, still giving the ball every chance of going into the pocket. Obviously, the big difficulty here in trying to make a break here is obviously the red are tying up the black. So on that basis, might be tempted to pot the blue, try and hit the pink and open up the reds. Needs the pink and black open, ideally, you want to make a break.
Well, that was surely a case of thinking more about position than the pot, taking his eye off the potting angle for a moment, and that's all it takes for the pot to go missing.
He's played a couple of those shots during the match, playing the blue and just stunning down, canning a red at two. But I felt, okay, he shouldn't have missed the blue. But even if he did pot the blue, you couldn't really say he's changed the pattern of the frame or the balls much. I think he definitely should have tried to open them up there. Certainly shouldn't have missed the blue.
What?
It was quite straight on. I'd be tempted playing the double here. And certainly before he played the green, he wasn't intending on leaving himself a double.
As good as he is, Neil Robertson could be forgiven for being a bit shaken up by the circumstances in which he lost that sixth frame, because it was looking like 4-2 and he was really taking control of the match. Didn't legislate for losing prime position and then missing with the extension. And then watching Highfield clear up to deny him that lead, keep him under pressure after what has been a disappointing start to the season, certainly in terms of results. With a couple of first-round exits, second round as well. Only 3,000 points to show for the first 4 ranking events of the season, the first of which he missed, the Championship League. That's more like it, though. That's Robertson back in Robertson mode. Terrific long red. Not ideal with the cue ball, though.
It's actually overscrewed it. Kind of pot that would give you confidence, even if you haven't made any more of it. Yeah, Neil, I just said he's only won 4 matches this season. 3 of them were in the Shanghai Masters, where he got to the semi-final. But otherwise, he's been going out early or the first round. And again, even for a serial winner like him, winning can become, or is a habit and can become a habit. So again, he will be feeling a little bit of anxiety.
Meanwhile, Ali Carter has been at it again in his match against Jamie Clark. Another century from Carter. He's made 97, 60, 145 and 102 now, to lead by 4 frames to 1.
Saying obviously you don't want to lose any match, but particularly the start of the season Neil has had for his standards. For him to lose this match as well, another first round, you'd have to describe it as a disastrous start to the season for him.
Yes, and time would then be running short in terms of qualification for the Champion of Champions in November. And as we mentioned before, trying to maintain his proud record of having won at least one pro title every season since he won his first in 2006. Every calendar year he's won something. Sometimes, of course, he's won a lot more than one, but it is a terrific record, which he will be very keen to maintain. Yet another in-off. Just struggling again at the moment, and I think he has had some of the stuffing knocked out of himself by the way in which his opponent was able to win that sixth frame, because he was flying at that stage.
Yeah, and that shot not just going in off and even leaving a red, but obviously in playing that, he's freed the black, which makes a bit of a better chance for Liam here. Didn't hit that well at all. Needed to be a lot lower on the white. Ended up being more of a roll shot when it needs to be more of a drag shot. Again, he'd be disappointed there. The red was close to the pocket. You could nearly make the position of play your priority. And then he slightly let Neil off the hook there. Neil would be relieved that going and off, it's only cost him 1 point.
Good performance so far from the amateur Gong Chen Zi against the former Welsh Open champion Jordan Brown. It's 2 each in that one. Barry Hawkins 4-2 up on Sanderson Lamb. Xing Si Hao has moved 3-2 up on Michael White. Ash Carty 3-2 up on Alfie Burden.
Yeah, bad shot there from Liam when he played the brown. Another enough. Bad shot from Liam that he should have made sure that the red Neil played wasn't able to hit. Should have the white more off to the right hand side.
Mentioned that Ali Carter is now with 2 centuries, including the equal tournament high of 145. There's a possibility he could play his fellow Essex Qist Stuart Bingham in the next round. Bingham plays this evening against Daniel Wells. That will be a repeat of the Masters final of a couple of seasons back, which Bingham won.
I believe Stuart's wearing glasses now as well.
That's right. Yeah, he has been struggling for form in recent times. Last season was a bit of a write-off for Stuart, and this season hasn't been the best so far, so he'll be very keen to get back on track, and nothing more motivating than a local derby if he were to play the captain, which at the moment seems likely given that Carter is playing so well. 4-1 up on Clark on table 3. Another mistake from Robertson, who's struggling at the moment. Things have turned in this match quite significantly. So here is another decent looking chance for Highfield. Yes, the pink's out of commission at the moment. The blue's not great, but he has the black. Plenty of open reds, already 11 in front, so this is an opportunity to build a lead at least in his bid to go 1 up with 2 to play.
Yeah, you feel there's a very important part of the match here. For the first time, really, you would say that Liam is on top. Got to capitalise here. If not necessarily win this frame one visit, but he has Neil kind of where he wants him. Slightly vulnerable. You just can't let him off the hook.
It shows the power of a winning clearance from a long way behind, doesn't it? Because had Highfield won that 6th frame off a long red with a century, Robertson would probably have just brushed it off as one of those things you can do nothing about. But when he was looking so good himself for 4-2, and to have that snatch from his grasp in the way it was, it's a lot more hurtful.
Absolutely, yeah, they hurt. They can hurt bad as well.
And it doesn't matter how experienced you are, how much you've won, it still hurts every time it happens.
Absolutely. Again, given the start of the season that Neil has had, probably could have a slight bit more of an impact than what normally would. I'm sure he's probably thought already, but here now, oh no, not again. Is it going to be another bad day, another bad defeat? Particularly if, from what we believe, he's working so hard at his game. Then to go out with another first round defeat.
Just a reminder of Robertson's season so far. He didn't play in the Championship League in Leicester, which was won by Sean Murphy. He lost in the first round to Wu Yize at the European Masters. The first round of the English Open last week to Sanderson Lam, and in between times, round 2 in the British Open to Si Jai Wei, 4-1.
And not just matches maybe he lost, but matches that he also would be strong favourite for. I suppose if he losing in the semi-finals in Shanghai to the world champion, you know, even for Neil, you can kind of accept that. But losing first round to players a lot lower ranked than him.
How do you feel?
Yeah, coming to a very important part of the frame and also the match, and of course the pressure then kind of reverses a little bit to Lin. And again, he hasn't had the best start to the season either, but of course apart from even that, it'd be such a great scalp from to beating Neil. So it'll be interesting to see if he gets a chance to win the match, how he reacts. Will he be able to take it? Will he be able to sprint over the line? But again, he's took these very well, very composed.
33.
Not sure if the two reds close together might even be a plant in the middle if he needed it, or he can screw it behind them. Yeah, you can see there. Just not absolutely perfect, a little bit of a gap between them, but still should make it again, because just has to pot it and stun the white.
He mentioned his ranking position and the need to try and get himself in a position of relative safety in terms of tour survival. He'd be guaranteed 8,000 points if he did win today. And they would be his first points of the season, so this is a big deal for Highfield in more ways than one. Not only to get a scalp like Robertson, which is by itself going to be a real confidence booster, but what it means for him in terms of points, financially, everything that goes with it. And of course, the opportunity to go further.
47.
Well, this frame is over bar the shouting.
The next frame or two, if he does get a chance, it'll be interesting to see, does he maintain the same rhythm, same composure?
54.
Because certainly when he's been in amongst them, he hasn't looked like missing. And again, that's also debilitating for your opponent. Not just that you're potting them, but you're looking good as you're doing it.
Well, there's no question that that clearance of 76 in the previous frame has turned this match on its head, because Robertson going 4-2 up. In fact, he was looking good for a second century, and a big one at that.
63.
To go with the 140 total clearance he'd made, to go 3-1 in front. But Highfield had other ideas, and now he's in the ascendancy, and Robertson is under a lot of pressure to deliver from here, because he's got to win the last two frames of the match to avoid another disappointingly early exit in this season that's now into its 5th ranking tournament. Liam Highfield, 4-3 up. Liam Highfield is playing superbly, and Neil Robertson now needs to dig deep to avoid another early exit this season. His best ranking event performance so far in this campaign, a second round. Highfield breaking off. 1 up, 2 to play. Just a reminder that Ronnie O'Sullivan is coming up against Mark Davis on table 2 later. That's our main commentary match in the evening session here in Wuhan.
A little bit careless there from Liam. Not only is he left a red, but Neil able to get his hand on the table to pot it. You'd expect him to pot it. Made sure the pot there, wasn't too concerned exactly where the white was going to be. Again, well, he's put the blue on the side cushion. I've been too concerned, but he's a bit concerned about that bounce he got off the cushion there. Haven't really seen anything like that during the match. You know, as he struck the white, it didn't seem like he'd hit it too hard.
Already looks like end of break though, which is another source of frustration for Robertson, having been left the red, having potted it. Just feathering off the bunch for the long grass, with only 3 to show for his efforts. We're back on air at 12:30 UK time for O'Sullivan Davis, 1:30 if you're watching in Europe. Other matches this evening: Ding Junhui against Wang Sijun, Martin O'Donnell, who's been in good form after his return to the tour, as he showed last week in Brentwood, up against John Higgins, who just missed out on the English Open final. Daniel Wells against Stuart Bingham. Si Jia Wei against Jack Jones. So some really terrific matches in the offing in the evening session here on day 2 of the Wuhan Open.
Yeah, good safety shot from Liam there. And Neil had to hit the pack thick there and open them up to avoid the reds that are over on the left-hand side. But of course, in opening up the pack, more likely to leave a red on, which he has. Kind of shot here, trying to get too caught up in exactly where the white will be. Just really pot the red, make sure you pot it, and then from there, assess the situation. Hopefully, you have a pot, but certainly don't miss the pot. Getting concerned about where the white will be. Fully commit to the pot. I did that well, just made sure he potted the red. As it turns out, he has a chance on the brown here. Okay, just has to roll it in. There's another red there into the opposite middle. Just about went in. Not sure if the pink goes into either of the corner pockets. Be a big advantage if it does. Yeah, I'm playing that shot. Obviously, it goes to this left corner. So again, even though the black is tied up for the moment, certainly if you pots this pink, you'd have to describe it as a good chance. Not to win the frame one visit, certainly to break the back of it. But again, the fact that it's a chance to win the match, that's going to add to the pressure.
It's all over meanwhile on table 3, and it's been a pretty devastating scoring performance from the German Masters champion Ali Carter. 97-60, 145, 102, and he's finished with 70 to beat Jamie Clark 5-1. So he will now play either Stuart Bingham or Daniel Wells. Zhou Yulong has whitewashed Anthony Hamilton, and he too has been in fantastic scoring touch. Last week's quarter-finalist at the English Open has made 3 centuries, finished with 102, and 2 other breaks of over 50. 79 points in the entire match for Anthony. So Zhou through. It's just a question of who he's going to play. Will it be Neil Robertson or will it be Liam Highfield, who's the man in possession right now?
As he has throughout the match, looking very composed, fluent without being rushed. Again, this is the most difficult frame to win, to get over the line. Again, he hasn't been winning many matches the last while. Even last season wasn't a great season. So, not in a winning habit. And certainly to get any win, but particularly against Neil Robertson. And from 3-1 down, be one of the best wins of his career. But if he is feeling the pressure, we certainly can't get any signs of it here, which is admirable from him, to be fair.
Concentration is the key, isn't it? We saw him miss the red in the 3rd frame, which turned the match Robertson's way. He cleared up to the pink and then went on to lead 3-1. And at that stage, it felt as though Highfield might have missed his chance. But crucially, he started the second half of this match very strongly, won the 5th frame, and of course took his chance quite brilliantly in the 6th when Robertson had left himself an awkward red, needing the extension on cue and rest, missed it. And since then, it's been all Highfield, really.
See a chance to win the frame and match here, but of course, making such a big break already, even if he was to break down, he'd still be such a strong favourite in control. Red on the side cushion, blue on the side cushion. And that can help if you feel you have a little bit of insurance. Whereas if you feel, if you miss, you'll definitely leave your opponent a great chance. Always makes it a little bit harder. And just good pink here and just stun over for these 2 reds here.
We've already seen an upset today. Mark Selby bowing out at the hands of Xu Si, who won a decider in emphatic fashion. Selby didn't score a point in that 9th frame. And now Neil Robertson is staring down the barrel. It's not over yet. There's still 67 on the table. 52 is the difference.
Yeah, slightly overran that, but again, being left-hander, not too bad. Yeah, just try and really make sure of it. He's going to have some shot on the next red. Again, 58 ahead. Just pot this to be 59 ahead. Worst case scenario. Of course, he'll have a shot at the colour. You feel this is match ball here.
Yeah, the black at the moment out of commission. It would be a long road back for Robertson if this goes in. And it's right in the middle, and what a performance this has been from Liam Highfield, just underlining how dangerous he can be. Just the 2 quarter-final ranking appearances on his CV, one of which was the shootout last season. But on his day, he can be so dangerous, as he proved against Carter at the UK Championship last season in qualifying. On that occasion, he was 3 down with 4 to play. Here he was on the cusp of being 2 down with 3 to play before he conjured that brilliant clearance. And that has really rattled Robertson, who's made a few errors since then. He got in early in this one, could only make 3 from it. And he now needs 2 snookers to turn this match around. A 65 the deficit, just 59 left. Black out of commission at the moment. Robertson in a deep hole.
Yeah, we've always known Liam had the talent. There's question marks over his temperament. But today he's a Great example of both. Again, this will give him a lot of confidence. Hopefully he'll build on it, not just this week, but throughout the season. It's been a fantastic performance.
And Robertson's missed the pink, and I think with it, the boat here in Wuhan. The world number 61, Liam Highfield, on the very brink of one of the best victories of his career. Yeah. And he hadn't won a match this season, remember, before this tournament.
Yeah, an awful lot to like about this performance. Not just beating Neil Robertson and beating him from 3-1 down, but of course he had the disappointment of he should have really went 2-1 ahead. He dealt with that, and then also showed great bottle to make a great clearance to go 3-all. So if this doesn't give him confidence or a boost, nothing will.
Robertson looking at that scoreboard almost as though
it won't change.
He was hoping it might just by looking at it, but it's not going to. The bare facts are there's only 51 left. He's 64 adrift. So it's 4 snookers.
Yeah, great performance by Liam, a great result. On the other side, worrying times, you'd say, for Neil. It's hard to know where he goes from this, what more he can do. He said he started working with Chris Henry. He's working hard. And probably for the first time in his career, he can't buy a win.
Very unusual territory for Robertson, who made 3 semi-finals in the home nations last season without getting to a ranking final. But this season, he's hardly getting out of the blocks at the moment. There is still a lot of snooker to be played, but with the champion of champions in mind, and he's been an ever-present in that event.
Yeah, down to 1 chance in Northern Ireland. Again, you wouldn't really say Neil has played terrible or made an awful lot of mistakes. At times he looked very good, but that frame, when he broke down at 55 at 3-2, turned out to be pivotal. You feel if he went 4-2 ahead, making that break, he would have seen the match out. But Liam's just got stronger and capitalised.
He's been able to keep Robertson under pressure. He knows that one more ball and it will definitely be over. It kind of is already, really. Robertson is hanging on grimly here in the hope that a minor miracle is going to come to pass, but it seems unlikely. 4 snookers needed. Black and blue in awkward positions.
I've seen Liam's mother, Sheila, in the crowd there earlier. Obviously made the trip over with him, so that's a great boost for her as well. To see him winning and playing so well.
Well, this has got to go. This absolutely has to drop for Robertson. Otherwise, it's a handshake. He's knocked it in. But still 56 adrift with only 43 left.
Putting this obviously puts the black back on its own spot. That table's not too bad for snookers. Obviously the green and brown close together, bit of a target to get behind. Obviously would need snooker and free balls. It's just important for Liam just to not to switch off, not do anything stupid or careless.
Yeah, the one thing you don't want to be doing in this situation is having the cue ball flying around the table and possibly into a pocket. We've seen quite a bit of that already today, particularly from Robertson. All sorts of in-offs.
It could be a great shot there. I think if he's got the cover behind the green, but not just that, also with the pink in play. So there's a danger of not just that Liam doesn't hit the red and gives 4 or 6 points away, but could potentially leave a free ball. So he has to be very careful here.
That's the other cardinal sin in this sort of scenario. Do not leave the free ball. Good hit.
And as a bonus, pushing that green away from the brown. Just goes to show one shot can turn around. And just don't switch off until you've actually shook hands with your opponent.
Yes, and of course the free ball is the equivalent of 2 snookers back, potentially, with an extra red and an extra black. That's why it can be a game changer. Robertson, as things stand, needs 4 snookers. Ashley Carty now leads by 4 frames to 3 on table 5. (4-3) now to Michael White over Jing Si Hao. And the Chinese amateur Chen Zhigong leads on by 3 frames to 2. They're the other matches ongoing in this afternoon session.
Nice shot from Neil there, studying over getting the snooker. Got to be careful.
Looks like he's got one back. Not difficult to hit, but of course for Robertson it's important that the red is safe as well.
It doesn't leave the red on. See the yellow going so close to the blue. Big target. Got a chance here for Liam to land the first blow. So in this situation, obviously Liam, clear favourite. You're not going to be panicking or thinking negatively, but by the same token, you just wouldn't take it absolutely for granted and do anything. Neil could get a snooker even without a free ball, as he's tried there.
Yeah, just plant that seed of doubt in Highfield's mind, because he's not been used to winning recently. He hasn't won in a tournament before this one. He beat Jimmy White in qualifying. That's his only success so far this season, so this would be a huge win for him, a guaranteed 8,000 points, which will be a big boost for his ranking. And of course the chance to go further. He'll play Zhou Yulong if he does win, after his 5-0 win over Anthony Hamilton earlier.
Obviously it's difficult to beat the top players, but it also could be difficult after you beat the top player the very next day to back that up with another good performance. Chances are you won't be on the TV table. We see that a lot. The underdog wins, has a great win, but then loses the very next round. And again, his next match is not an easy match either, so there's certainly be no disgrace in losing that match. But he'd be anxious to try and build on this win and get a run in this tournament and go deep. Again, seeing players like Zhang Anda doing it does give the lower ranked players confidence. As we've seen today, he's got talent in abundance.
Like Highfield, Zhang had never been past the quarterfinals of a ranking event before he arrived in Brentwood. He was 2 frames away from his first title. Shows what can be done with a bit of confidence and belief. A couple of big wins. Of course, Zhang beat O'Sullivan on his way to the title match. So if Highfield does complete victory here, as still seems highly likely, he's got very recent evidence to draw upon of what is possible, even if you've not been in form. But Neil Robertson is determined to put him through the ringer before victory is assured.
Yeah, just a little gentle swerve. Shouldn't be too hard to hit. Again, apart from the yellow and blue being so close, the green in the jaws of the pocket and the black close to the opposite corner, they're quite a big targets to be able to get the white ball behind. Not just if you get it behind, it's going to be a snooker and a difficult one. Again, it's important here from Neil's position that he doesn't get too anxious. In Neil's position, every safety shot you play doesn't have to be a snooker or potential snooker. Crucial, of course, for Neil just to keep the red on the table. Be patient. He will get his opportunities to get a chance of snooker.
That's worked out rather nicely. Just for a moment, it looked as though Highfield might be leaving Robertson a golden chance for a fiendish snooker, but he ended up getting one himself.
Yeah, and also takes the yellow and blue, separates them. That's one less potential problem area gone. Such a big lead, just needs, as I said, needs just to be patient. Needs to do all the work.
Of course, got previous when it comes to winning big matches from Snookers Required. Did it to Mark Williams at the Masters. But on that occasion, he needed 2 snookers. Here he needs 4.
Actually did well there, Neil, not just to hit the red, but just get it away from the pocket. We should play the red up and down the table towards the right-hand baulk pocket. Leave it close to a pocket. Yeah, it's not a question of Liam doing anything clever or smart. It's more just a question of not doing anything stupid. To be fair to Neil, he hasn't given this up. Obviously still believes it's possible. Plenty of players in this situation would have already shook hands and been in their dressing room by now. Second time he's tried that exact shot there, Neil. Of course, if you get it in behind the bracket, it's going to be a really difficult snooker.
Still chasing 4 4-point snookers as things stand, Robertson. He's come an awfully long way to play in this tournament. He wants to make the most of it. Turnaround seems highly unlikely, but I guess you never know. Frames have been won from this situation before. I remember Mike Hallett famously beating John Parrott in the semi-finals of the Masters. I think he needed 5 snookers at one stage. Cliff Thorburn did it to Jimmy White in a ranking final in the 80s.
Yeah, ideally he wouldn't have wanted to pot the last red, but felt it was too difficult to try and keep the red away from the pocket. Not pot it and safe. So he's had to go with plan B. But again, the possibility of the free ball worth 8 points, red and the black, that's gone. So obviously 4 snookers on the yellow. It's a lot more difficult task than 4 snookers on the last red.
The other thing, of course, in this scenario is you can't benefit from a foul and a miss, because once you get to the snookers required stage, if you do miss, then the balls aren't replaced. I don't think he intended to pot the yellow there.
Yeah, not just under the ball gone. Obviously, in playing this green, that's obviously can't get a snooker behind the green now either. So whatever glimmer of hope he had from Neil, it's practically impossible now. And if he does lose, Neil puts a bit of pressure on him going into Northern Ireland. And again, of course, in previous years.
Well, that is definitely the end of the match. And what a victory for Liam Highfield. Another big disappointment for Neil Robertson, bowing out in the second round of the Wuhan Open. He's still outside the world's top 100 on the one-year ranking list. But for Liam Highfield, one of the best wins of his career, the world number 61 has defeated the world number 6 by 5 frames to 3 to move into round 3 here at the Wuhan Open. Congratulations to him, and for Neil Robertson, it's a long journey home, much earlier than he'd hoped.